at the airport, when I was going through security, I had no coffee in it. It was completely empty. I had it in like the side pocket of my backpack. And the security guy, I don't know if he thought it was like a bomb or something. It went through the thing and his eyes went like this. And then like the bag went to this like a separate conveyor belt where they like inspect it. He pulled it out and he's like, "What is this?" Like, I'm like, "Oh, it's a coffee cup. I swear.
Welcome back to The Sustainable Act. I'm so excited for today's episode and discussion. It's going to be a really good one already. Known for his work on the hit Netflix show Another Life, Nickelodeon's Make It Pop, and the soon-to-be-released Netflix show Tiny Pretty Things, I'm super honored to welcome actor Alexander Eling. Alex, thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Thank you for having me, man.
So I hope all's been well.
Yeah, that was a nice intro. That was funny. Sorry, I've never heard anyone say that. Cool. Yeah, everything's all right. Just taking it day by day, you know?
Yeah.
Been keeping busy where I can, watching a lot of movies and playing a lot of video games, playing a lot of guitar.
Yeah.
Practicing, just all that stuff.
It's a good time to catch up on all like the movies you haven't seen and learn a new skill.
Yeah. I don't think people necessarily need to feel pressured into it, but if they want to, now's a great time.
Exactly. So. That's a good point. I've been hearing about that. It's like, don't feel pressure that you have to come out of this, totally fit, with the new skill. It's like, just take it the way you can and
do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I met you during production for Another Life season 2. Do you remember that first interaction?
It was by the lunch truck, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hear your point of view before I get into this.
Yeah. It was by the lunch truck, and you gave me a reusable lunch container. And that was, I have it actually right here. People that are watching, here it is.
Oh, nice.
I forget, what was the brand called?
Onyx.
Yeah, Onyx, right. This thing's great. It's great. And you gave me one of these. And I think everybody, if it's not necessarily that brand, should just have a reusable anything. And I guess that was our first interaction. Yeah.
That's right. So we were at the catering truck, but I met most of the cast already, right? I think a week before, and I and I did the dumb thing, and I asked if you were one of the actors, and I'm like, now that I look back on it, I'm maybe I shouldn't have asked because
it's
someone who's been on.
I don't mind it because sometimes actors are treated like kings and queens, and I guess in some regard, we maybe need a little more, we're more high maintenance or whatever,
Yeah.
Sure. But if someone doesn't know who you are, it's okay. Just tell them, say, "Oh, this is who I am."
No, and I love that.
I don't see any reason to be offended that you didn't know who I was. It's okay. I just told you, it's fine.
Yeah. And then, we introduced each other. I told you I was doing the sustainability on the show, and you were holding your reusable bottle, and I was good for you. You brought because celebrate small wins. But then what you said after took me by surprise because you exceeded all my expectations. Because then you start talking about all the things you do and care about, and I won't say what those are because I'll let you do that later on in this episode. But yeah, I was that is so cool, and I just remember I'm this is somebody that leads by example. I think that's what I took away from our first. And then I gave you the container because I was the crew gift and
yes, thanks.
Yeah, no, and I was just this is so amazing. And then when I asked you if you wanted to come on the show, you agreed almost immediately, no questions asked, and I was how amazing.
Right. Yeah.
Why don't we take it to the beginning? So when did you know you wanted to become an actor?
I'll make this as short as possible,
okay.
But I'll say, I was artistic, quote unquote, when I was a kid, and there's those people that they're when I was a kid, I always liked to be in front of a camera and doing this. That wasn't who I was, I guess. But it wasn't until high school, just before high school, my mother, I didn't know where I wanted to go to high school, and she put me. She told me to audition for Wexford Collegiate School for the Arts. It's in Scarborough, in Ontario, Toronto, Ontario. Sorry, not Ontario. But like I had never sang or like act, I never did any of that stuff. But like my older stepbrother went there, and I remember watching his, like when I was a kid, we'd go and watch his performances. Like as a kid, I'd see them up there and I was like, that looks like it's really fun, like what they're doing. And they'd be doing like sketch comedy. And I just saw how much fun it looked like they were having. And I kind of, maybe in the back of my head was like, I want to know how to do that. But I didn't really think about it. And then, yeah, it was my mom who kind of, pushed me to audition for the school. So I did. I got in. And then, if I'm being honest, so grade 9, I didn't even necessarily, like, I was just there. Because grade 9 is your introductory year. Like, you don't really, unless you're like a superstar, like you're kind of more learning and observing. You're not really up on the front lines in the front row and doing all that, performing. Because it was a musical theater. We did like musical theater, just like contemporary drama plays, comedies, like everything, all that stuff. I'd say it wasn't until grade 10. So I was about 15-ish, 14, 15, when it was specifically singing. I was petrified. I was terrified to do it. Now I'm fine. But like, I was just
terrified. So you can sing? You're going to sing for us on this?
On this podcast? I don't know about that. But
no, I'm kidding.
Like, definitely it's something I like now I do. But it feels intrusive. When you first start, like, because you're just throwing yourself out bare because it's just your voice. I don't know. It's this weird thing. But now I'm over it. Now it's fine. But it wasn't until maybe I was about 15 in grade 10. Like, I enjoyed acting. I thought it was a lot of fun. But then I started thinking, like, maybe this could be a thing.
Yeah.
And then, just stuff kind of started falling into place. I started taking it really seriously for my final years of high school. I got my first agent in grade 11. I was still in high school with the help of the faculty of like the performing arts, because like they had connections, right? So they kind of got me my foot in the door professionally. Like, it was a slow but sure process. I like got my first professional job, that show Make It Pop on Nickelodeon. It was my first ever professional job on camera.
Was that shot out in Toronto or in?
Yeah, it was filmed here. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's where they filmed. They filmed at the same studio that they filmed Degrassi.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I grew up watching Degrassi.
Yeah, they filmed at the exact same studio. Degrassi was also something that like I auditioned for a million times.
Oh, cool.
Got close a few times, and then it never panned out.
Is it still going?
I don't think so.
I remember watching it all the way, like from the 80s to. Not that I'm that old. I just.
Yeah, no. I think it's done now, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And then like that, I kind of did I got that first job. I got like into the union, ACTRA, which is Toronto's actor union. And then after that, I kind of just did like the restaurant side hustle, as well as, just like training, studying, and like auditioning and like getting bit parts here and there. And then as of right now, like as of summer of 2018, which is when I got season 1 of Another Life, I haven't had to go back to side hustle. Like, knock on wood, I don't have to, but if I have to, I'm prepared, like, especially now, like, I don't know when I'll be working again. Exactly. So I don't know. I said I'd keep it short, but that wasn't short. So
it's great. Like, and it goes to show that like hard work does pay off. Like, you didn't quit. You didn't like, you could have just stopped any time before you got Another Life and be like, okay, maybe this isn't working out, but you kept going, you were persistent. So that is inspiring.
There's nothing else that I really, not necessarily wanted to do, but there's nothing else I really thought I could do and like enjoy.
Yeah.
Because this industry does come with a lot of, like BS. Like it's tough. It's hard. It beats people down. Yeah, I just really liked it. And also, like, because I went to an art school, like I was really fortunate to have a lot of friends that also, are pursuing and like different things in the arts, and like, you know, I have like a really strong support system that way. And even my friends that necessarily aren't actors, and we all just support each other and we celebrate our wins, right?
Yeah.
So that definitely helps.
Yeah, because I'm assuming it's a scary world, like especially when you put yourself out there and you're being that vulnerable. You know, like coming in like with like a support system like goes a long way. So you're not
Yeah.
feeling like, you know, super. I don't know, because yeah, it's a big
Just
world.
out there by your
Exactly, and like doing
like
big
I
things.
always have friends that if I need to do a, you know, self tape with like just like little things like that you kind of take for granted, honestly. And then when you don't have them, you're, oh shit, like
Yeah.
need to, you know. So that was that was a big thing. Like it just because we feed off each other's you know, energy and all that. So yeah, like I'm 22 now. I guess I got into it when I was like 14 or 15. So
yeah,
that's
you've been doing it for like half your life now. Like, math.
yeah, I don't know.
Film.
That's why I'm an actor. I don't.
Yeah, same. So what is your fondest memory of your career so far?
I don't like. There's a lot. Like a lot of the firsts. Actually, so Make It Pop, that very first show that Nickelodeon show. Just getting the call to hear that I booked my first thing was, you know, amazing. But one of my best friends from high school, who's still one of my best friends now, we did the show together, and it was like he was on it first. So I think I don't know if I'm getting the timelines right. I think he'd been filming for maybe, I want to say like 3-ish weeks at this point, and then I got an audition for it, and then like, you know, we were just like so excited, and like he was like, "Yo, you're gonna get on this," and da da da, it seemed crazy. And then, you know, I got down to like the wire, did the callbacks, and then I think they told me that if I were to know, I would hear by Thursday, like of that week. And then I didn't hear anything. And then, you know, I was like upset about it, but then like I was getting over it because like in this industry you have to just kind of take that and then just go into the next one. And then like the following week or something, I heard late that I got it or whatever. So like that was like a really special moment. Getting my you know, booking season 1 of Another Life, like just knowing, oh shit, I'm gonna be on a Netflix series. That's really cool. One that's, or like when the show like first came out, to have something, you know, like all those firsts are like really fun memories. But one in particular, because it's a recent fond memory. It was so last summer. This all happened in the same day, mind you. Was literally one of the best days of my entire life. So last summer, it was a slow year for work, and then all in the same day, I got put on hold for the role I did in Tiny Pretty Things, and the Toronto Raptors won the NBA championship.
Oh wow!
That day was nuts. It was incredible. I did a self tape for Tiny Pretty Things, and then a month passed, and I'd like completely forgotten about it because I didn't hear anything. I just, okay, you know, as these things go. And then a month later, I got put on hold for it, and I was like, what? And I guess for people that don't know what being put on hold is, it's like one of the closest things you can get without actually getting it. It basically is their way of being like, okay, just like hold on, like, you know, you're on our, like they might just put you on hold. They might put like maybe like 3 people on hold or something like that, so they can like just I guess talk contracts or whatever with the other agents. What, like I don't know exactly how it works, but I was put on hold, which is good. It means you're really close. And then later that day, the Raptors won the NBA championship. It was just crazy. It was an incredible day. And then a few weeks later, I found out that I had gotten it. Yeah, just in recent memory, that was a very, very fond memory because that day was just incredible. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Going to like your environmental impact, like what inspired that? Like what, because I remember when you were talking to me about it, you were like truly like talking about it like from your heart. So like what inspired that? When did you start noticing that and learning about it and like wanting to like, okay, I'm going to start changing a few things?
I don't remember what year it was. I want to say like 2017 maybe. I remember my mom, she like I don't remember what exactly was going on. She had some sort of health issue where eating red meat wasn't good for her. Something to do with her iron levels, and which usually is like if you have low iron levels, you're usually supposed to eat red meat. But like, don't ask me the science, but we weren't eating red meat at the house because so we just cut it out at home entirely. And then just because I was curious, I started kind of researching my own thing, just like the effects on the body first, and then I sort of like fell down the rabbit hole of like effects on the environment as well. And then there's the question of like animal cruelty, all that stuff. So then I think maybe that was in like a November or December of 2016, and then 2017 or 2018. I forget the timeline, but it was one of those years. I decided as my New Year's resolution I was going to be vegetarian.
Oh, nice.
Now, I did it for a bit, but I didn't do my research quite well enough to know like what I needed to substitute for like the lack of like protein that I would get from eating meat. And I didn't research it properly. So I started feeling really like sick and like low energy. So I introduced chicken back in, but I kept, because also chicken was something that was just always like, I'm part Indian in case you don't know.
Oh, no, I didn't.
I'm mixed, but we cook a lot of Indian food, and Indians use chicken a lot, right? It was just something I had I guess I had really used to my diet. So I incorporated that back in. I still had fish as well, but I kept red meat and pork out. Since then, like I may have like cheated like a handful of times throughout those years, but like for the most part, I just didn't really miss them also. And then, like I learned about like the effects of specifically farming cows, like on the environment, like how bad, that is. So I guess it started there, I'd say. And then actually season 1 of Another Life, I remember, so I come from a theater background and I like to, write on my scripts and stuff. It's just like do all my whatever. And I like to hold the paper. Like I like to, it's just a muscle. It's like a safety blanket thing when I'm rehearsing or like, prepping stuff. I don't know. And then I got there and I'd never been like a series regular on a show ever. Right. So I didn't know. So I remember like at the start of it, they're like, so like they ask if people want paper scripts. And I was like, yeah, of course. Cause I always like it. But I didn't realize that like the moment a new draft comes out, which is all the time, like they do
almost every day.
Every day there's like a new draft of this episode, of that one. Like the old drafts you have, one, like they're not just obsolete, but like everything you wrote on them, you have to like write again. But also I just remember, so maybe I kept that up for like a month. And then the place I was staying at in Vancouver, I just had towers of paper. And I was like, I looked at it one day, I was like, this is awful. I'm not going to keep doing this. Because also like environmental effect aside, it's just like, it's so tedious also. Yeah. But obviously the environmental effect is very important. So I started like researching what I can do. And then I found that app Scriptation through my castmate from season 1, Jessica Camacho. Shout out Jessica Camacho. She's killing it. Lovely, very kind. She's so sweet. She's incredible. She was using that app on her iPad, and and like she showed me, like we were sitting next to each other in the car ride to work one day, and she was showing me that, and I was like, that's sick. So yeah, I invested in an iPad, got the little pencil thing, and got that app, and I have not, used paper since.
It goes to show when one person does something, it has a ripple effect because, I was talking to Steve, who's the founder of Scriptation. He's going to be on an episode as well. And he said the same thing. He said, when people start talking, because it's environmental impact aside, it's just more convenient when you have like your notes because it transfers all your notes.
Yeah, that's another thing that's really cool is like when you get a new draft, like, it comes into your email or whatever, and then you just like you copy the file to the app, and then you don't like it can detect if like, because like when like different drafts aren't completely different, like you know, a lot of the pages are still the same. Like they can detect that and they'll just transfer whatever you wrote. Like sometimes it might not be entirely accurate. You might have to move some stuff around. But like for the most part, it's pretty good. Like, so that was another thing. Yeah. You don't have to like, you write every damn thing. Like, yeah, it keeps everything saved on your iPad, which is really cool.
Yeah. And it's like, because it's so time saving, it's like now you can go and like go do something else, right? Like go spend time with your friends or family, or like, you know, do like something for your own self instead of sitting there every day, like, you know, half an hour to like a couple hours of like transferring. And you know how you coming back to when you were like, you like being able to hold something because it's like that safety blanket. And I think that from like all these actors that I've talked to, that's something that's like a common theme among them.
It is
like
very
they need
common.
to
It's
be
like
able to hold something.
yeah, just like muscle memory, because it's like, it's pretty, it's pretty much how everybody starts this. Like when you first start, like you hold a piece of paper and, you know, you read off, like that's just how you first, you know, do it. Right. So
yeah, I remember one actor who was on this show, I think The Magicians, she was saying that she also, it was like a similar experience where she's like noticing her waist and the fact that she's so used to like holding a piece of paper to be able to memorize it. So what she did, she got her iPad and then she held a piece of paper. So because again, it's like, you know, you're training your muscles and your brain to like, you know, trick it into like, okay, I'm still memorizing by holding a piece of paper, yet it was on an iPad, and slowly phasing out like the piece of paper. And like I mean it takes work, but like again, it is a worthwhile long term. What is something you hope to see change in the industry?
Environmentally, or you just in general?
I guess in general, like.
Well, actually, okay, environmentally, like, and I saw, like, I really saw it with when we were doing season 2, but like, it also started when I was doing Tiny Pretty Things. I remember, like, at the start, there was like plastic water bottles or whatever, but I remember like a few weeks in, they like got rid of them, and they started making like small. We didn't have a like someone of your job title like doing, you know what I mean. I think it was just like a conscious effort from everybody. Same thing, like they asked who wanted paper scripts, and if you don't need them, then don't, you know, take them. But then yeah, like I started noticing like the boxed water, like the cartons of water everywhere instead of bottled, which was really nice. I guess just like if they could do more of that, because it doesn't seem like it's that hard. If it is hard, like someone correct me, but like I apologize if I'm wrong. But it doesn't seem like it's that hard, just to make like little things like boxed water instead of bottled. If you don't need paper scripts, don't take them. You know, like don't just give, like just little things like that, so then it can slowly evolve into becoming more of a regular thing. Because at first, like when we were doing season 2 of Another Life, and everything was like different, like it was just different, but it wasn't, oh yeah, right, I can't just go do this, I can't just get that. But then like you get used to it and it's fine. Exactly. It's for the greater good, I guess. Yeah. So I don't know how other productions are like around the world doing that, but just if every production could slowly do that, like in terms of if we're just talking like environmental things, I don't want to change. Like that would be because it also just doesn't seem like it's that people don't need to like take a stand. It just seems like something that's like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Let's just have boxed water instead of bottled, and this instead of that.
Or bring your own water bottle.
Yeah, or bring your own
taking
like
single use. Yeah. Which isn't difficult because everybody has water bottles at home. Like.
Yeah. And then also there's the trouble with the pandemic. Like they didn't want to let people use their stuff because of fear of spread of. And that was, like that's another thing, because obviously this is like unprecedented, like what's happening. I was talking to my mom recently, because my mom works at a dental office, and currently she's out of work. Like they closed, but they intend to open back up at some point soon, like apparently, because they were deemed as non-essential. So she had a lot of like from work, like she had like lots of, gloves and like masks that they just keep at work. But then she took a few home just so that we could have going out grocery shopping or whatever. But like on one hand, people are saying, oh, like the world is kind of healing because of the people aren't like factories aren't, you know what I mean? Like there's just less,
Yeah.
I guess. But then also there's so many like disposable things now. Like
Yeah.
gloves, you just got to throw them out after use, and masks, got to throw them out, like all this stuff. Like that's a lot of waste.
Yeah.
But like, what choice do we have in a time like
Exactly.
this? We have
But
no
it's
choice.
also like we don't know when we'll go back to like, because like shaking hands, like that's not going to be a thing for like a long time even after this is over. So
Elbow bump or whatever.
yeah. But you're right, because like even coming back and recovering
something I was
from
thinking
this.
about. Like it takes a lot of people to like make a movie or a TV show. Like there's a lot of people in a studio or wherever. I'm just wondering how and when it'll be appropriate to like go back to work, and like what they're gonna do differently, because like, you know, sometimes you got to get like close to people, you know, like,
you know, this is something I was talking like with Steve during our talk, is like now people are using like digital writing rooms and like, you know, video calls, and that might also now maybe might be the new norm. Like when we go back, it's like, again, reducing our intake of resources and energy and fuel and stuff. But also a thing that came up was that we humans like to tend to go back to our old habits. So
yeah,
who knows?
old habits die hard. Yeah, like I'm thinking, like, what if like all this stuff's still going on, but then there's a scene where like people have to like, I don't know, hug each other or like kiss each other or something. It's like,
yeah,
wait, like it's just
like the precautions you're gonna now have to take.
which is just because like, you know, doing that stuff just isn't going to be simple.
The same.
I'm just wondering. I'm just a little curious as to like how, you know, people aren't even like, you know, they're staying like 6 feet apart as they should until, you know, all this starts to calm down. But
still, you won't know.
Scary times, man. These are very, very scary times. Just tricky.
I was walking in my neighborhood and I saw these little kids, probably like 4 or 5, and they had like this little puppy, and I was like, oh, like your puppy's cute. Like I wish I could pet it. And then this little kid's like, yeah, I know, but coronavirus. And I was like, that just melted my heart, because I'm like, this poor kid, like their whole childhood is it's not going to be the same. Like I felt so sad.
Yeah, like life is going to go to a new normal.
Yeah.
Like Doug Ford, our premier of Ontario, he was saying for the foreseeable future, like he doesn't see, like sports teams will have to play in empty arenas for the foreseeable future. And that's just like if it has to happen, it has to happen. But it's just so crazy. I just never would have thought that would have happened in my lifetime.
Well,
we're living in it.
That even like, because you're still able to get access to watching these games.
You can watch them on TV, but it's just,
when we talk about being like with like, you know, because coming back to making movies and TV shows and stuff, like if we can't go back to it because we're not considered essential at all, but what are people doing like literally the most out of like being home? They're going towards like entertainment, but now like all these shows are like on pause and all this, you know, everything's gonna be delayed, and it's like, okay, then what content are we gonna have left to watch other than the news? Like if we're not ever allowed to go back for like the time being, it's like, that's scary. That's something I think about. I'm like, I can see it's not an essential service at all, but it's also the thing that brings together everybody.
I know, because it's like, you don't need it to survive. Like you don't need, you know, like you will live without, but it's like just borderline. I don't know. Like, it's so weird. It's so
the good thing is that whatever happens, it's like we're all going through it together, and it's like we're not alone. And I think that's like the nice comforting thing, is like, you know, like we're not alone in this, and we're here for each other. And I think communities coming together now more than ever too, like to support each other, and that's like a beautiful thing too.
Also, shout out to the grocery store workers, like
and the janitors and the healthcare workers and everybody that we didn't really acknowledge much before this happened, which is I think another thing that once we go back to normal life, it's like hopefully, like that's my hope, is that now even the government starts recognizing like the value of these people, and you know,
especially in Canada, man, like our healthcare is so good here. Like I will never take our healthcare for granted. Not that I did before, because I was always aware that Canada's healthcare is like really good. They are just out there fighting a war.
They're working over, because I see, because my mom's a healthcare worker, so like the overtime she's been putting in, it's like so sad to see, because then she comes home and she's so exhausted, and then she'd be like, okay, I finally have a day off, and they're like, can you come in again, because like
there's just there's no exceptions, I guess, like on that.
Yeah.
Kudos to her. Wow.
But when you look on the positive side, it's like she's getting an opportunity in her career to like help the world, and I think that's such a beautiful thing, where it's like I'm sitting at home not being able to help the world. Like, you know what, like it makes me like reflect on myself, like
Yeah.
oh, like, I went into this career. I think a lot of people, they're just so warped in their own worlds, they don't see, like I never really noticed like what my mom was doing until this pandemic happened, and now I'm like, wow, like and my dad's also a frontline worker too, so it's like seeing both of them just put their like lives out there and just like hustling, and I'm like, okay, the best I can do is be at home, but I'm like, that's not enough. So
I know.
it really makes you reflect.
Yeah, like literally the bare minimum that we can do is stay home.
Yeah.
And I think it's so selfish that people are wrapped up in their own worlds, that they want to get haircuts. Everyone wants a haircut. I have a rat's nest on my head. Everyone wants a haircut.
I know. I feel like this conversation is very like, we have the environment aspect, then we have the pandemic insight. Because like, okay, if I'm being honest,
very interesting time.
Starting this podcast, my goal was to like kind of not forget what's happening in the world, but kind of in a way like divert your attention from the negativity in the world, so that you can look at, because that's what I do for my own self, is like I try to tune it out when I know that, okay, I can't control it, I can't do anything, I'm doing my part by staying home. Now what can I do to, I don't know, like look towards a more positive aspect in life? But I think this is an important conversation. Like I think I will keep this in the episode, because when we started talking about it, I was like, do I cut it out? But it's a conversation that needs to happen, and like it's the reality of our situation, and it's like, what can we do to like do our, like, what's our part in the world, and recognizing that, because it comes back to what we were talking about, like our jobs as people in the film industry. It's like, yeah, there's all this like glamorous side, but then it's like, I don't know, it's just like the whole
lot of waste.
lot of waste, yeah. But even in a time like this, when you said like how we had to start going back to single use, it's just like, yeah, the little things of like also really valuing, like for me, what I also reflected on is like the importance of, that's why I got into film too, is like how much, because like, okay, you know how like a lot of times growing up you hear like, oh, like I want to be a doctor, and I want to be like so and so, or I want to be this, like some, it's like those are very important careers, but I always knew like I wanted to do something that would help a patient, but not like as a doctor, but like someone that you can like look to something for, just like to forget your pain for a little bit. And I think that's like the media, like the film and television like industry, that helps somebody forget like their pain for a little bit. So that's something I really realized too, because now we're in this pandemic, and everyone, like, Netflix and Amazon, it's like they're booming right now, because like that's what everyone's doing, like they're sitting at home watching. But
just,
then
like, I get that they're not essential, because you don't need it to keep on
survive,
living, but
it's like also like coming back to, what is the world going to be like when we can go back to work? Like, can we go back to work? Will we ever be able to go back to the same way of making, shows? And
well, because the truth, like the fact of the matter is, like, the world has to, like, life will go on. It just, like, that's just, life will go on. Just don't know when, but life will go on. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean back to normal, but like,
I don't think it'll go back to what our normal was. Like,
exactly. But like,
going back to the environmental aspect. But, now that we've talked about this, is like really good that it's like we're touching base on this whole situation and reality of the pandemic, because it is going to affect our environmental choices and like the way we do things. I think like, having the digital scripts, that's going to be something that we can definitely do. But then maybe like the single use items, like we can't eliminate those anymore. So it's like, this is good. Like, this is like again, the reality of the situation. But what advice would you give to an actor that's also wanting to, reduce their own footprint? Like, what is something that you would specifically towards actors?
Well, first just do little things that's like no skin off your nose. So for example, you gave me that lunch container, bring one of those. I have this, which I showed you before. Like I have this like reusable cup, who was gifted to me by my friend Damon Gillespie, who was on Tiny Pretty Things. He gave one of all these to cast, like everyone to cast and crew. Like everybody got one. So shout out to Damon. This is called a Stojo, and it's like a reusable coffee cup that is,
collapsible.
You can go like that. Fun fact though, at the airport when I was going through security, I had this like this, I had no coffee in it. It was completely empty. I had it in like the side pocket of my backpack, and the security guy, I don't know if he thought it was like a bomb or something. I don't know, but like it went through the thing and his eyes went like this, and then like the bag went to this like a separate conveyor belt where they like inspect it. He pulled it out and he's like, "What is this?" I was like, "Oh, it's a coffee cup. I swear." And I was like, "See."
Did you do it? Did you do the whole wait for it and then like surprise him?
He wouldn't give it to you. Like he was holding it. Oh. I don't know. And then I was like, "No, I swear." Like, and then he like smelled it. And he could smell the coffee. That was like, because I don't think I washed it or something. But yeah, like, so just be careful at security at airports. But otherwise, like little things like reusable cups, reusable water bottles, reusable containers. If you don't, obviously I get like iPads are expensive and like you can't just go and buy an iPad, but like, if you can afford it, I guarantee it, besides it being environmentally, sustainable, like it's good that way. It also like, it's just convenient. It like removes the tedious aspect of, having to rewrite everything on like new drafts, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I guess just do it like Jessica, who showed me scriptation on the iPad, like did to me, just like kind of spread the word. Because usually like if I people like if I show up with the iPad, people are like, "Oh, like what's that?" Because like they'll look over and I'm like, "Here, it's this," and I show them that. I was like, "Wow, it's so cool." So like.
Amazing. Lead by example.
Yeah, just like little things. If you can't afford an iPad, just like do in different ways. Like thing or
amazing. Okay, so I wanted to end this with like a segment, like a fast five. I don't know if you've ever done it. So it's like a rapid, quick, like question answer, and you would have to answer in 1 to 5 words. And first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Okay.
1 to 5 words?
1 to 5 words. Okay. I mean, try your best.
Okay.
Like, I've done this before, and it sometimes goes on to be a whole like story, and it's I live for stories, so it's all good.
I'll try. Okay.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So the best piece of advice you've ever gotten,
especially for this industry, don't get attached to anything. Anything's a compound word.
That's a good one.
Don't get attached to anything.
That's a good one. That's
things can be
something I need to. I tell
myself this in this industry.
Yeah.
You think you got something?
I'm a Cancer, so I get attached easily to any and everything.
Oh, really? Well, sorry.
So that's something I tell myself.
I'm a Capricorn. I don't really know if I.
Oh my gosh, yeah, my best friend's a Capricorn. So Capricorn and Cancers are like, they get along really well and they're very similar. So I don't know if you feel that, if you're also like someone that gets attached. Are you emotional? Are we going to get into astrology now?
I'm pretty emotional.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be in this industry if I wasn't. So.
When's your birthday?
December 29th.
Okay, you're a December baby.
1997.
I see. Okay, that's a good one though.
Don't get attached to anything for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like, especially in this industry. I love that. Okay. So second one is, how do you practice self-care for like both your mental and physical health? Like, how do you practice self-care?
Damn. Friends. Good art. Hard work. I don't know. Yeah.
That's good. Like, do you want to elaborate on like hard work?
Sure, yeah, because that's pretty vague. Good. You said self-care. Good art. By that I mean consume. Like, are you asking all these questions like in terms of the industry, like in terms of the industry? That, or are you just talking about like?
No, just in general. In general.
Oh my god. Okay.
No, it's okay. It's still good.
I'll just keep it related to the industry just because that's where I guess I went with it. I'll kind of like branch off, but by good art, I mean consume good art that that drives you forward and like just makes you want to do cool shit. I don't know. Like, watch a good movie that makes you want to get out there and make something cool. I don't know. Listen to cool music that just like,
transports you.
Yeah, and that makes you want to just do like, that gives you a visceral response. Friends, obviously, just surround yourself with good people. As simple as that. And what else did I say? Hard work.
Hard work.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Work hard. Hard work. That's what that means.
I love that. Like, especially a good art one, because I don't think a lot of people, that's normally not the first answer they say when you ask like about self-care, because like self-care sometimes it's like I meditate.
Well, I guess it's different for everybody.
It is, but that is a huge one because it's therapeutic. Like when you just like immerse yourself into something that, especially being creative people like we both are, it's like that kind of sparks our inspiration and our fuel.
Yeah, and to see a finished product, like of some. It doesn't even have to be like, it can be anything. Like you can build a desk. I don't know. It'll just make you feel accomplished. Like I made that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Learn a song on an instrument. I don't know.
Awesome. What is one thing you want to be known for?
Funny you say that. Sorry. Yeah. What is one thing I want to be known for? This guy. He just showed up.
Oh.
Hi.
What's his name?
Oliver.
Oliver.
He was under my bed and then he just walked out.
Oh.
Yeah, this is how he likes to sit. Yeah. What's one thing I want to be known for? I know he just has, because he's just black and then has this beady yellow.
Yeah, all you see is his eyes. I'm like, and then you stick his arms out and then I saw his arms, but he just like blends in.
What was the question? Sorry.
What is one thing you want to be known for?
Oh, him. He's one thing I want to be known for. His friend.
He's so fluffy.
I know. Yeah, he's big. He's a big boy.
Oh, we didn't really say. Sorry to interrupt. Did you mention that you had your cat, just for people that aren't watching the video?
He just showed up. Like he just sort of.
Your cat just showed up. For people that are only listening to audio.
Yeah.
They're probably like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, he was under the bed and then he just walked out and came up here.
Yeah, you just have a human under your bed.
He's here. Hello to my cat. Right, I gotta do this 5 words, right? Like a good body of work. I can't do 5 words. This is hard.
That's okay. You can break that.
I'll say like good bodies of work, not necessarily just in the industry, just in general. Yeah, and just like leading by example, I guess. Like
love it.
Progressiveness.
Okay, the next one is, what do you consider? I think I already know the answer to this. What do you consider to be the most important thing to you in life?
That's hard. That is a hard question. Do you mean in my life or do you mean like in life?
In your life. So like more personal.
It's kind of like a 3-way tie, I guess. Like drive, like in terms of like making something of yourself. That goes for like, your career and your work. And you're asking, that might be different for other people, and like I don't think everybody has to feel that way. But if you're asking me, then that's
for you. Yeah.
My passion for not just things I do in my career, but just other things like basketball and like or sports or music, like that stuff. That stuff just like drives you as well.
Yeah.
Like you're just like making friends and just making people happy and like being made happy by other people. just feeding like human connection there. And animal connection for this cat.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I said, I think I know your answer, I was like, he's going to say all of it. But then you didn't. And I was like,
No, he knows. Yeah.
And then last one is, what environmental goal have you pledged to take on? Because I know we talked about this throughout the whole thing, but what is one goal that you're like, I want to take this on?
Like to eventually completely eliminate eating meat, I guess, in my diet.
That's a good one.
I can't say when that'll happen, but that has been just like something I think about every day.
You know what? That's a step. Like the fact that you're thinking about it is already like way farther than like someone on the route to like doing that, because obviously you can't change overnight. Like that's something that no one expects it to happen. Like it goes for everything, right? You can't become perfect and like overnight. And so
that's a long thing, especially if you're accustomed to something completely different.
Yeah.
So I guess that in terms of like environmental goals.
Yeah. I love it.
And sorry, if I can add one more thing, I'd say to get other people just to be conscious of doing small things things that are just like so easy that you might have just not thought about before. Like I didn't think about the scriptation thing, but like again, my friend Jessica was just like, "Oh, we'll try this," like stuff like that. Getting other people to do that. Yeah,
that's awesome. And I think this like platform like this is like a good like one way of like spreading the word and inspiring other people listening to this, whether they're actors, whether in the film industry or whether like they're not in the industry. It still like makes you think twice. And when you see somebody doing something, it's like you see it's possible. I think people are more prone to like trying it out. And when you learn the reason behind why you're doing it, not because this is just a cool thing is to be vegan, but it's like, how is this helping more than
not just about you?
Yeah.
What is it doing?
That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. Like this has been
thanks for giving me some
No, this has been very like inspiring and like thought-provoking. I feel like we've touched a lot of things that I wasn't even planning on getting into. And like, do you have any final thoughts that you share?
I just think this is a really cool thing that you're like taking the time to do during a time like this. I just think it's like really, it's just like smart and like it's again, not that people have to go and do a bunch of crazy, stuff and like come out with a new skill, like, but just like good on you for doing something.
Thank you.
And like having like a, quote unquote project that you're devoting time to and like effort to make.
Thank you. And I appreciate you like being part of it, because that's also means a lot. You
appreciate it too. So thank you for asking me.
Well, thank you so much. So like, how can we find you if somebody wanted to stalk you after this?
Find me.
Not physically, socially. Like show up at your house.
Give you my address and my postal.
They're like, how's Oliver? And you're like, how do you know?
How do you know I've got? You can find me on Netflix, I guess. Another Life season 1 is on Netflix now. Season 2 we are filming and is on pause. And another Netflix series called Tiny Pretty Things, which should be out later this year in 2020. I'm not entirely sure when. I haven't gotten the release date. So just keep an eye out for that.
Amazing.
You won't want to miss that one. That seems like it'll be cool.
Can you tell us what it's about?
Sure. Yeah, it's based off a book series, but of the same name, Tiny Pretty Things. Like, sorry if I could like summarize it quickly. It's like think of like Black Swan meets Friday Night Lights. That's what one of the producers said, I think. Someone said that. I can't remember. I heard that somewhere, and I was like, that's pretty accurate. So it's set at a prestigious ballet academy. I'm not one of the ballet dancers, so I'll tell you that. but I get involved somehow, and you have to watch to find out.
Nice.
Yeah, it's set at like a prestigious ballet academy where you just see how dark and competitive that world can really be. That's all I'll say. I feel like that's all I'm allowed to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much again.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning in. This week, the Sustainable Act is recommending to check out and donate if you can to the Frontline Fund. By donating to the Frontline Fund, which represents Canadian hospital foundations dealing with COVID-19 all across the country, you can help arm frontline healthcare workers in Canada with what they need. Donations go towards supplies, support, and research. Go to frontlinefund.ca to learn more. To connect with us, follow the Sustainable Act on social media and let us know your story. Subscribe to the show and be sure to leave a review. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next week.